Isolation, quarantine, and health safety protocols are something we've all learned a lot about over the last couple of years.
It turns out Churchill Downs has been using those practices for decades. WDRB's Dakota Sherrick shares some insight about a common virus horses face and the protocols at the track to prevent outbreaks. Dakota?
With the Derby around the corner, horses from all over the country and other parts of the world are coming to Kentucky. But with them can come communicable diseases, which is why Churchill Downs has a number of precautions in place.
Just as when you take a bunch of school children and you bring all the school children together, the sniffles, the sneezing, the coughs tend to go through a classroom at school, we see the same thing with horses.
One of the more common viruses seen in horses is herpes, which Churchill Downs Medical Director William Farmer says can come in respiratory or neurologic form and is usually spread by coughing and nasal discharge. And in a racetrack like Churchill Downs, which can hold up to 1,400 horses, those animals are in close quarters, making it easy for viruses to spread.
When you do have a herpes outbreak, it can certainly be devastating to a racetrack because it is a communicable disease. And we don't want to spread that disease to other places because racehorses tend to travel a whole bunch between racetracks.
Which is why the Kentucky Department of Agriculture has been keeping an eye on cases happening elsewhere.
Horses that are moving from racetracks where there is disease events and perhaps the quarantines are released, we may look for testing of those horses before they're allowed entry onto a Kentucky racetrack.
Equine operations consultant Rusty Ford says that's an extra measure on top of many others Kentucky already requires.
Every horse coming into this facility today comes in with a health certificate where it's been examined by a veterinarian within the previous 72 hours. In addition to that, it's got some negative tests for other diseases as well as vaccinations, specifically for herpes 1.
Herpes 1 is the strain most associated with neurologic complications, sometimes causing horses to struggle to walk or move. But as with viruses like COVID, a horse could have it but not show symptoms. So Churchill does ask trainers to do daily health checks to stay on top of any possible cases.
A lot of trainers take daily temperatures. One of the first signs we see with herpes virus is a temperature.
Churchill Downs also has 3 quarantine barns and requires any horses brought in from another country to stay there first to ensure they aren't bringing in any foreign diseases. Precautions that are protocol, especially around Derby time.
I think people are definitely more vigilant, and we're just making sure that we dot all our I's, cross all of our T's. But again, it's really the same before Derby and after Derby because we just want to make sure they're as healthy as possible.
Farmer says since he got to Churchill Downs in 2019, they haven't had to quarantine due to the herpes virus. And Ford with KDA says while there have certainly been cases in Kentucky, they're usually able to contain and mitigate it quickly. Dakota Sherrick, WDRB News.